Welcome back, Kittitas Valley Sports Talk fans, episode 16, Joe Montana episode. But let's go with the most recent success in the NFL, the Gardner Minshew episode number 16.
The Mississippi Mustache episode.
Heck yeah, man.
That's what we're going to call it.
I saw it the other day on their Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, Jacksonville. He is the leading rookie in franchise history in passing yards for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For Jacksonville?
Mm-hmm.
And jersey sales, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine
sales.
that?
Yeah. Awesome.
Jorts sales.
Heck yeah. What a time. Well, we got to mention real quick. We don't got to. We want to mention real quick our sponsor, Fitterers Furniture, for the Kittitas Valley Sports Talk. Quality furniture since 1896. Right now, head down there, 25% off Serta, iComfort mattresses, floor models till they're gone. And they're going to be a clearance sale next week, too. So get down to Fitterers. Tell them that you heard about it on Kittitas Valley Sports Talk. And thank them for sponsoring.
You actually might see me there because my couch is a little worse for the wear. And so I'm going to need something comfortable to sit and watch bowl games and postseason football as well.
Well, that leads us perfectly to the intro, something I want to talk about. What a great weekend we're going into. We're recording this on Friday, December 27th. We're starting to recover from our Christmas holiday.
That's right.
But, I mean, this is 2:51 right now. There are some great bowl games starting here shortly.
Is there one in particular that's been circled on your calendar?
Well, there's obviously the one. If you're watching on the YouTube, I got my hat on back here. Cougars 7:30 kickoff against Air Force. What a day! And I'm wishing I was down there at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona.
So I got a friend of mine who actually has been posting photos from warmer Phoenix. It was a little bit chilly, according to his Facebook post. My heart went out to him because I was still scraping ice off of my window. So
yeah.
There are plenty of. I'm sure we all know somebody down there,
mm-hmm.
and what a interesting battle. So the triple option versus air raid, and I will say, I don't know what you guys see, but the experts are kind of leaning toward Air Force on this one. I would say 2-1 advantage on expert picks.
Yeah, they're probably if Air Force can run the ball and own the clock management and the time management. I feel like they could probably. I don't know if the Cougar offense doesn't click tonight, they're going to be struggling. That's for sure.
Well, what's the spread?
Isn't it Air Force -3? Isn't that what?
I haven't seen it.
Eric doesn't care. He knows the Cougs are gonna.
Yeah,
that's right.
He'd take a straight bet regardless.
That's what I'd be. My betting skills would be. Yeah, Cougs are gonna win.
We took a straight bet on the Apple Cup when I was down there in Vegas, and I don't remember me having to cash in either one of our tickets.
You didn't go back. No, you didn't have to go back that night. So hopefully it's a good showing. I mean, last year, that bowl game was fun, but Gardner Minshew made some highlights to make that happen. And I guess the other fun game that's happening at 3:00 is the Iowa USC game, and there's the semifinal games are tomorrow on Saturday, and then you have a Seahawk game that's just it's going for the NFC West title on Sunday. It got moved to Sunday night at 5:30 kickoff against the 49ers, and what a fun. It's a time to hopefully you got those tin cans for Christmas from your families with popcorn and all the fun snacks, and put it in the couch and let's go watch football.
You know, that Seahawks game, one, it's going to be fun because it's for the NFC West Championship. I mean, the 1, 2, or 3 seed is up for grabs on the NFC side. Mm-hmm. It's basically going to be a playoff atmosphere. Do you see Brian Bosworth is raising the 12-man flag? And then, of course, everybody on Twitter is like, the Boz is somebody who played before 2012 when all the bandwagon bands came, which I thought was funny. And but also, my in-laws, we had to rearrange our family Christmas on my wife's side of the family to coordinate with the Seahawks game, which made my wife roll her eyes. She sometimes listens to this podcast, so I'm going to take her side on this one. That I think it's horrible that we had to reschedule Christmas over the Seahawks game, but I'm going to be watching the Seahawks game as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But somebody who won't be watching it, somebody who will actually be playing it.
Yes.
How many Skittles sales in downtown Seattle, or what's the percentage they've risen? Is that the right word? Yep. They have raised. In the last week.
Doubled.
Beast mode.
Well, they doubled with what they put in that car when he goes
to
the hotel.
Yeah,
if you guys didn't see that on Twitter, here Marshawn gets out of a car and a carload of Skittles falls out.
Yeah. Money Lynch.
Beast mode's back.
Beast mode is back. at the least, he's going to give them an emotional edge. I hope. He looks to be in better playing shape than I do. So I hope
he's done well.
But one guy that's being kind of in taking the back seat to all this is Turbo.
Turbin's back. Yeah.
Turbin is back. Who he was great for the Seahawks with the little bit that he played too. So I think we're going to be okay. I hope Russell and DK and Lockett. I hope they just.
Sorry, I just saw breaking news before we started recording. Clowney's playing.
He is playing. He is playing.
He's cleared. He's going to play this week. So I think that's a big one.
I relate to. I mean, there's so many similarities between Clowney and me, and so
playing through injuries. Yeah,
playing through injuries. I mean, just the raw
locks of hair,
athleticism. He has better hair than I do, but everything else. I mean, we're pretty similar athletes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast, and you guys can discuss those similarities.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I'm sure he's.
He wouldn't call in. He would actually make the trip.
He'd be here in person.
He'd make the trip.
Darn right.
Do we have a pick on that game?
On the 49er game?
On the 49er game?
Seahawks
on the
game?
Hawk game?
The Hawk. That's what I meant. Sorry.
What is it? Are you
I'm still
Ryan
recovering.
Kuhn over there talking about 49ers?
No.
There you go, Ryan. That's for you.
You're welcome,
Yeah.
Kuhn. We got a Twitter battle with Kuhn the other day about this game already.
We did.
Did you see that, Luke? Did you chime in at all?
Luke was too busy making merry for Christmas, I believe, and so
Right.
I didn't see him getting supporting us.
I'll come in late, but
Damn right.
I'll say something.
Do you have what are you saying for this game?
I don't know. It's gonna be close. I'm just excited to see Lynch. It'd be really cool. I mean, it's gonna be really electric when he comes out of that tunnel. I mean, it's gonna probably
Beastquake.
cause an earthquake, just like it did when he had that run in 2010.
Yeah.
Which my brother was there for that one.
I remember. Yeah, I
He
remember
said
watching that.
it wasn't crazy that night.
I bet.
Yeah.
I saw something on Twitter as well. I mean, isn't it amazing how our main source is Twitter now? But
Right.
where when they do the player introductions, somebody said you better introduce the offense and you better introduce Lynch last because that place will explode.
Just
Well,
do
it's supposed to be the defense, but KJ Wright says they need to make a way to have Lynch come
Figure
with them.
That would
something
be
out.
awesome.
Yeah.
The
So
12th man of defense, the Marshawn.
yeah.
But I got Seattle. I'm taking that pick, even though we're not doing picks.
I'm going to say Seattle, but I'm going to say it's just as close as when we beat them down there in San Francisco.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Santa Clara, I guess
Yeah.
it would be.
Oh, it's a blowout.
It's going to be way too close. It's going to
blowout.
Blowout, Luke.
Yeah.
I loved him when he was a Seahawk, but I would love nothing more to see Tyler Lockett catch a touchdown pass that just clears Richard Sherman's fingertips. Just over a pick, touchdown pass, Seahawks win, walk off. Helps my fantasy team, and it would be just it'd be a top 5 memory in Seahawks history.
My fantasy team took 6th place this year if you're going to bring fantasy.
Yeah. I'm fighting for.
I made money on fantasy rodeo, but
Hey.
I did not make money on fantasy football this year.
Yeah, fantasy football's hard. Well, let's. Where are we going to go from here, fellas? Let's go from here. We talked about our big weekend of football. I'm excited about that already.
right.
We had a big weekend of watching basketball, and we'll get in the scoreboard here soon. But let's talk about real quick. We were all at the Kittitas game there tonight, and there was a great article in the Daily Record. I believe you wrote that, didn't you, John? Or did you write that one? About T.J. Johnson. He passed away. Kittitas, a local Kittitas guy, had cancer and passed away. And it was a special night in Kittitas.
Yeah, Luke wrote the play for TJ story, and then I wrote a couple of words in my rodeo column because he was a rodeo fan as well, and it was cool to see the posters there, the play for TJ posters, and different variations of that, and his family was all up there, and they're always there anyway, but obviously a little bit different last Friday, but we. Like I said in my column, I don't want to say we're losing them, but God definitely got a big time fan up there in heaven to watch Kittitas basketball and watch some rodeo as well. So, but you were going to say something about what we're going to learn from TJ.
And that's why I saw his wife Gail Johnson. If you would have seen the friendly face. She worked at Safeway for quite some time, and he was always known for a good smile there. And I saw her Facebook post that they were talking here a couple weeks or months ago. When they knew that it was happening. And I think the biggest thing to come of this, the best way to memorize or to have a memory of TJ was his comment to her was, maybe something good will come from this, and some kid won't start smoking, or somebody will quit smoking because of what's happened to him because of how much he smoked. And I think hopefully, I think if we can have one or two people saved for that, just because of that message of hearing it, I think that it's that's the way to honor him.
I saw her post that quite a bit of clarity there. Kind of puts it in perspective, which is a cliche to say, but it's the truth. So he will definitely be missed. But man, it was fun when he was around.
Yeah. Well, before we go on the scoreboard, let's end on a little bit of a happier note. How was your guys' Christmas? Did you guys survive your holiday season?
It was good. Yeah. Went as expected.
Good.
Yeah. Had brisket.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. What did you have, John?
Spiral cut honey ham.
Wow.
Delicious.
Yeah.
That's my wife's preference, and we've done that on Christmas Eve for, I don't know, many, many years. So my Christmas was low key.
Yeah.
We do our traveling the weekend before and the weekend after Christmas, and so just pretty low key. Ate well. Great gifts. I'm going to play the parent card here and say it's much more fun to watch your kids and family open gifts than it is to. I'm not a very good gift receiver. I'm very appreciative, but I would prefer to watch everybody else. So fun Christmas. Good Christmas.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that because I know if you walk through Big Country Studio lobby, that Ellie has made her Christmas presents known to the entire house.
They're there. Yeah.
And so,
some.
But yeah, no, Christmas was fun. I actually had the brisket and a spiral cut ham, and it was pretty good. And I meant to say, I think I do have some leftovers out there for you guys.
The dogs are still benefiting from Christmas. You talk about Big Country Studios, the lobby. Let's talk about the parking lot of the studio,
which turned into almost an MMA ring, doggy style, because Paisley, the corgi, miniature Aussie corgi mix, little dog, and then I have Maggie, the Labrador, who's eats all the garbage in the neighborhood, so she's well fed. Paisley got to the ham bone first, and oh my God, look out! If you walk near that corgi right now, she's going to bite you.
Well, we do. So Luke and I, every time we arrive and leave, we always pay respects to the dogs, right?
Right.
And the corgi was side-eyeing me big time. I was like, I'm just going to wave from afar because I wasn't going to try to steal the bone, but Paisley is the dog's name. Yep. She was very protective of that prize.
That's right. She's small, but she's fierce.
Yeah.
What is that the same reaction that you got when you arrived, or was she more friendly to you?
I actually pet her back, but she wasn't. She was pretty stiff, so I kind of went away.
Don't touch my ham bone. Right. The other thing I wanted to bring up real quick is that we went to the Enchanted Lights at, I still call it Safeco Field, but it's T-Mobile Park.
The safe.
And if you guys have ever been to that before?
No, I've seen pictures that are pretty cool, but it's on the list, and it just always. Life gets in the way. Yeah. Worth the trip?
It is. It's expensive. Do not go within a couple days of Christmas because it was chaos. I mean, we were down
So describe it for me. Why are you? It's Christmas lights on the field? What?
Yep. It's a maze. And so when you walk in, you go through the home plate entrance, up the steps. The 100 level is a bunch of vendors, and they're selling it's a holiday bazaar kind of looking thing. And then you walk down the field, and you walk onto the field, and it's a maze, and they hand out things, and basically to give you something to do to see everything it's a scavenger hunt. There's certain displays of lights, like there was Tommy's Toys, and there was somebody else's, like there's a dinosaur. You had to go find this and scratch your card off, and we thought we won something, but you just got to mail your card to Santa when it was over with. So it was a maze. There's an ice skating rink out there. You can pay to go ice skating, and
wow, that's cool.
And actually a Kittitas alumni, Tommy Ott, is working the one in Tampa Bay. They're all over the nation, and there's a pack full of people. He said in Tampa Bay they sell over 15,000 tickets a night.
A night? Seriously?
There was more people there than a decent Mariners team crowd. It was wow. The line. I mean, if you're familiar with Safeco Field, it's the home plate entrance. The line was past the ticket up down the right field line, and when we left that night, it was almost to the right field entrance. All the way down there. That's how long the line was to get in.
And 15,000 people, because Tampa Bay averages about 3,000 at their games.
Yes. So there's a lot more there than an actual baseball stadium.
Tampa makes more money on Christmas lights than they do on baseball.
It's absolutely right. Yeah. But go check it out sometime. Have some fun with that. And we'll be right back with our guest of the week. We got, it's winter break right now. We're between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And our valley, we've put a lot of athletes out there, and college athletes. Well, this is the time, if you're not playing basketball, you get to come home and you have a quick break from your fall workouts and your spring workouts or in their seasons and whatnot. So we were lucky enough to get Xander Orejudos, the Ellensburg Bulldog graduate, played at CBC Community College, baseball player. He's a stud. He's a great player, and we've already interviewed him before we've done the intro. And I think that it's safe to say that he's a guy that, if how sports and what I took from it was sports life lessons. Well, this dude's going to be okay when he's done playing baseball.
I think so.
He knows how to work.
Yep.
And he's going to be all right. So.
If you can apply that to when baseball ends, if you can apply that to his life later in life, he's going to be just fine.
He'll be all right. Well, we'll be right back. We're going to have a brief message from our Fitterers Furniture sponsor, and we'll be here with our interview guest of the week, Xander Orejudos, brought to you by Fitterers Furniture.
Fitterers Furniture presents a poem for the season from Mr. Brad Fitterer.
Thank you. 'Twas the holiday season and all through the store. The staff was real busy with customers and more. There were couches and tables and lamps all around, with savings and prices the best in the town. But the reason I write this is simple, you see, to wish you the best from my staff and from me.
Thanking all of their customers.
Wait, I'm not done.
And wishing all of you the best for the holiday season.
I have more.
Quality furniture since 1896.
Hey, I spent a lot of time writing this.
Fitterers Furniture in Ellensburg.
Valley Sports Talk fans, we are back with our segment of the week, our guest of the week, brought to you by Fitterers Furniture. We are joined today by Ellensburg graduate, CBC baseball graduate, Xander Orejudos. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I want to point out I got it right. I said the last name correctly. I'm sure that's something you probably get. Your stadium announcers all throughout the years probably don't get that right very often, do they?
Oh, I've heard just about everything. I've heard Orejudos, Orejudos, whatever.
Do you even acknowledge the mispronunciations when you're on the road, or is it just expected that they're going to stumble over that name?
Honestly, I kind of block it out. Like, I hear from my mother after the game. She's like, "Did you hear the announcer say your name wrong?" I'm like, "No," but I mean, I expected it.
Absolutely. Well, let's walk us through. You were on. You played for Ellensburg High School. You graduated in 2017, correct?
Yep.
And you were on 2 state title teams. And just to walk us through your career playing baseball at Ellensburg and some of the fun times and the big memories and what it's like playing for Coach Gibson.
Okay, so my freshman year, going in the dugout, we were picking teams. I didn't really know what to expect. I thought for sure I'd be on JV. And then I heard my name called like before a few seniors, and I was just like, I looked around and I was pretty confused. But I mean, I was excited. I could tell some of the seniors were upset, but as the year went on, like they took me in, and it really translated through me and then throughout the rest of the program. During my 4 years, like I was able to carry that on. I had a lot of leadership like helping me out, so I just kind of tried to pass that on, and obviously it worked. I mean, we got a few state titles. Even after I was gone, they won another one, so that's pretty awesome.
How long? I mean, you talk about even after you've been gone. So even though you were at school and away and focusing on college and moving on in your career, was it or is it easy to still keep tabs on Ellensburg guys?
It was very easy. I mean, we were kind of like a family, so that's why we played so well together. We harped on each other. We made each other better. We just yelled at each other for stuff that we should have been doing and what we weren't doing. And I mean, it sucks at the moment, but after the fact, you realize like that's the little things that make you better and make like you good as a team. So.
Is that the same kind of thing that you felt at CBC? I mean, what was the major difference between high school ball and CBC and just Northwest ball in general?
I'd say probably the years. So high school I was there for 4 years, and then community college I was there for 2 years. So it's kind of hard to, get in a groove with all the guys because the next year there's new guys coming in, so you don't really know them. But I mean, I tried to carry that on, and we were pretty good, but we could have been better. It was just it's hard at that level because everyone's trying to do better for themselves, but as we're also trying to play as a team. So I don't know. I'd say college is a lot more selfish ball, community college at least. But I mean, you're playing for your school still, so you have that pride in you.
Is that something that you expected, or was that kind of an aha moment, like when you're talking about just playing for yourself or trying to move on to that 4-year or scout level? I mean, did it take some getting used to, or was it pretty immediate off the bat?
I tried to play the same. Like through high school and through college, I tried to play the same because, I mean, if your team's not good, your team's not winning, then people aren't going to look at you. So, I mean, if your team's doing good as a whole, then, I mean, your team's going to get more looks. And if you're a good player on that team, then they're going to realize that, like, you're a big part of that. So
what made you head to CBC after Ellensburg?
Brent Wyatt. So he's an Ellensburg alum, PAC alum.
Yeah.
So he he actually called me on my birthday and was like, hey, happy birthday. We're family friends. And he's like, I have an offer for you, actually. And I was like, oh, sweet.
Nice.
Great birthday present. Yeah. So.
Heck yeah. Well, that's got to be fun going to CBC. I know they've always been traditionally strong in the East region of the NWAC and getting to the tournament. And what was your days of playing, being a Hawk? How cool was that, and what was it like?
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say it's probably the best 2 years of my life so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't win as much as I'd like, but I have met some of my best friends from there. And, I mean, school is school, but
Right.
the baseball fact was awesome.
Can't beat the weather in the Tri-Cities in the
Yeah.
early spring either. So.
Yeah.
I mean, even going to community college, was the work ethic way different from high school? I mean, what you guys did and training and all that?
Yeah. It's like a job. And, you know, high school is kind of like, it was a secondary, but once you get into college, like school and baseball, they're together. It's a job. But in high school, it's mostly like academics and then baseball.
Ever a time going off that job mentality, did you ever worry about getting burned out or anything, or was it just in your blood, so you just enjoyed going to quote unquote work every day?
I mean, playing with a bunch of guys, especially as you get higher up, you do see guys get burned out, and honestly, I never want to stop playing this game. So I just kept pushing through, you know, like if they're getting burned out, then I need to not do what they're doing. I need to do something else, like focus on something else. So.
Well, I think that's just true love of baseball too.
Yeah.
And how could you not be fun going to
Yeah.
your job every day of being a baseball player?
I feel like people get burned out when they see like someone's doing it better than them, and they can't figure out how to get past that to move up to their next level, like better themselves. But when I see that, I'm just like, I watch how they're doing it and try to mimic that. And
So let me go off of that right there. So obviously you've got talent. The college has noticed, CBC, Wyatt noticed, and everything like that. Big name, by the way. And so instead of you getting burned out when you saw somebody doing something better, or you knew there was a part of your game that needed to improve, what was that you knew you needed to improve immediately when you got on campus?
First off, it was my body. So I was a little bit out of shape when I got there, and I knew I could feel the ground ball. I knew I could hit the ball, but I mean, people were running faster than me, so I need to get faster. So I started eating a little better, working out, and I mean, that helped me up my game. Just that helped me up my game.
Did you feel different? I mean,
I felt
mentally and physically?
Yeah, I felt better. I could tell I was faster and stronger, and it kind of like it helped me keep going, you know. I liked that feeling, so I wanted it more.
Right. Right.
What was the difference between the game itself? You know, the high school, and I guess for me it was the speed of the game, going from Kittitas to Big Bend. But what's the difference between high school baseball and college baseball on the field, competing aspect of it, in your opinion?
Like you said, the speed of the game, but also like our pitchers have to work a lot harder because there's not one hitter that can't hit. You know, there's not one easy out in college. So everyone is the best player from their high school going to play on. So, I mean, I'd just say the speed, honestly.
Yeah.
So what do you know, Ellensburg's obviously sent a bunch of kids, under Gibson going to the college level. And what's that say about Ellensburg's success and the kind of talent that it's coming out of, under Gibson's helm? Yeah.
But I mean, he definitely deserves some recognition, Todd. He has made it a real program, and I feel like kids that go through him get the discipline for college later on. So, I mean, Ellensburg's definitely a 2A powerhouse in Washington for baseball. Or, I mean, any sport, I guess.
Yeah. Were you kind of, I think Tyler Polasek went to CBC. Did you kind of have talks with him on kind of trying to get him there? Or?
So before Brent stepped down, me and Tyler were talking a little bit, and I told him, I was like, it's going to be the time of your life. Like, you're going to have a good time, and the school is super nice. I'm not really exactly sure how big it is compared to all the community colleges, but I know that it's a pretty big one, and they've had a lot of success in the past. So I was like, dude, it's a good place to go, and you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to play. You're going to get better, so I think it's a good fit for you. And he's a hard worker, and that's what CBC wants, is a bunch of nitty-gritty guys who are going to push through anything, adversity.
Right. So part of the segment and why we asked you to come on was, talking about guys that go away to school, they come back winter break. I know you have the year right now to recover from an injury, but just talk about the winter breaks. You grinded it out all fall, and if you guys don't know, college sports are year round. So you've got through this big grind, and it's not really a grind. It's fun. Fall ball is amazing. It's the best. That's really a lot of fun. So now you're home for winter break. You get to hang out with buddies. You get to work out, get ready for spring, because when you head back to school in January, it's go time at that point in time. But just talk about the winter break and being home for the holidays and catching up with all your dudes and your workout habits when you get back.
I think the best part is, in high school, I was making memories with those guys, and then we went our separate ways and then made new memories. But on break, we get back together and we get to talk about those memories. And it's like we're still in our memories with each other. Like, we're making memories apart from each other, but we're still hearing about it. We're still, like, in their lives and stuff. And so I think that's the pretty cool part about it.
That's awesome. What kind of workouts you got going on in the winter?
I'm not doing much right now because of my injury, but I've been going to, the Blues facility. Yep. So I've been hanging Dylan Larson's, helping coach with them. So he's been letting us in there and throw and hit with Alonzo Bibianu and I think Gage Gibson.
Right.
So we've been in there just hitting and throwing a little bit, fielding some ground balls. Dylan's been doing his drive line stuff. Oh, yeah. Alonzo's been perfecting his swing like he's always been doing. So.
Right. That's awesome.
Is that kind of a contagious attitude to be around, just guys that want to just, stay in shape or get better or focus on a few things? I mean, is that no matter the age or the talent level, well, maybe to a certain degree, but no matter the expertise, I mean, is it just nice being around a bunch of guys like that?
Those three guys I mentioned, Gage, Alonzo, and Dylan, those are probably three of the hardest workers I've been around. So, I mean, me putting myself in the mix of those three, like, I want to be with them because that's who they are, and they're going to make me them. Like, you are who you hang around, So I want to be around them because they are hard workers.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned, like, injuries, and we also talk about, the next step and everything. What are you looking for in that next step? Whether it be, before we were on camera or recording, you were saying warm weather. So, I mean, what is that one of the priorities?
That is a pretty big priority. I mean, I'd like to anywhere. I'd be happy with anywhere, but if I got to choose, I want to be somewhere warm. I like the cold weather, but it sucks playing baseball in it, So you could play baseball longer in the warm weather, and plus somewhere like California, you can't beat the beach,
Dang right. That's smart, man.
So one of our first guests that we had here a few months ago was Coach Story over at CW, and we were talking about, winter weather and practicing. So you're practicing indoors on, like, hard surfaces and stuff like that. So how do you practice indoors but not develop bad habits of, the ball's going to bounce harder on a harder surface than it would on grass or anything like that? Do you find yourself, how do you make sure you keep in shape without developing bad habits that would come in from, or what I would assume are bad habits that come in from working out inside or fielding balls inside?
Mm-hmm. Well, personally, I think every ground ball is different. So, when I think about a bad habit, I think about like getting to that point where you're fielding a ground ball. But once you get to that point every ground ball is different. So you flip your glove over sometimes, you're sideways, backhand maybe. But every ground ball is different. So I don't really think about it as a bad habit. I think about it as I know how to field that ground ball now. I'm going to work on how to field the backhand now. So I don't know. I don't really think about the surface that much as maybe other people do, but.
Have you been using the same glove since high school? Or?
I haven't. My freshman year, I had a A2000. I used it up until my junior year. My junior year, I got a new glove, another A2000, and I used that until my freshman year of college. And then I recently got a new, what's it called, Rawlings.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I got a Rawlings, but I haven't been able to break it in yet because I broke my hand, so I wasn't able to squeeze it. So I had to use my old one because it was basically a glove. Like,
What makes you switch? Is it like coaches giving advice or fellow players, or what prompted the switch to the new glove?
I liked it. I don't. I don't think.
Like getting a new driver.
Yeah, I don't really think equipment helps you do anything better. I mean, it's more comfortable sometimes, but I mean, if you switch to a different bat, the bat's not going to help you hit the ball. So that's just how I think about it. Like, what's comfortable for me, and the bat's not helping me hit the ball, so I still need to hit the ball.
Mm-hmm. Are you one of those guys that if someone else touches your glove, you're like, hey, don't touch it?
I used to be in high school. I used to be, but I always played with older guys throughout high school, and they're always like taking it anyway. So after that, I'm just like, put it on if you want.
Dang, I learned that lesson, and we'll talk about this in a second with you. Is when the first year when I went to the Packs and I grabbed a middle infielder's glove and put it on my ginormous hand, and man, he was pissed. Don't touch my glove. Yeah. And those guys carried their gloves on the airplane, because they didn't want people screwing with them.
So, like for me, I played baseball, but not at the high school level. Coach pitch, I was pretty much Babe Ruth and coach pitch, of course.
Right.
But I found myself like losing my superstitions or losing my rules as I got older because I felt like I was focusing more on the superstition rather than the quality of play. Yeah. So is that another reason why you're like, whatever, they're going to grab my glove anyway? Or
superstition's crazy. It's all in your head. So people think that they're doing bad because of something. It's like, dude, you did bad. You barely missed the ball. You're not doing bad. It's baseball. You strike out 7 times out of 10 and still get 3 hits, Hall of Famer, So that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah. It's a cruel game, but it's beautiful.
Game of failure for sure.
That's right. It's how you handle it. So one last thing we'll talk about before we let you go is, he played for the Pack for 3 years. You're talking, I got a jersey right back here that's a 3rd-year gift you get when you're down there for the Pack. And just talk about your times, and a bunch of your Ellensburg buddies went down here with you, and you won a state title down there, so you technically have 3 rings.
So summer baseball is definitely way different than school ball. You basically only play games, and you have a tryout and a few practices before, but summer baseball is not like school ball. It's way more fun. Honestly, I love school ball, and there's nothing like playing for your school and stuff like that, but also in the summer, you're just having fun, and there's no worries. You're hanging around a bunch of guys. You're traveling, staying in the hotel with them, screwing around in between games, and you're still getting better, but you're having fun while you're doing it.
Hanging out with your boys all summer long.
And summer ball, you're not dealing with 50-mile-an-hour winds. I'm assuming so. Great weather as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Xander, go ahead.
Actually, you say we're done. I'm not done talking to my guest here.
My bad.
So you talk about Pack and everything like that, and I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything controversial, but I think they kind of got the shaft last year with not being able to defend their state title. I believe it was. So as a Pack alum, was it tough to see your friends there not be able to move on in their postseason play as well?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a big bummer, but at the same time, we all knew that they should have been there, and that's really what matters. Like they got it taken away from them, so you can't really do anything about that. People are, I don't know, crying about other stuff rather than letting people play. Let the game decide who wants to go next, not other people who aren't even playing.
Yeah. They got the shaft. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Those crap.
You're old enough to be like, it doesn't matter. I
Damn
would say
right.
one more thing is you talk about getting together with friends, high school buddies on breaks and everything like that, and talking about the memories. So I'm almost 43, and those memories get a little bit better. So the home runs get a little bit longer. The scenarios get a little bit more intense. The people rushing the field or the girls asking for autographs or
Right.
phone numbers, they get more plentiful as you get older. So enjoy those stories because they'll get
I
better.
will for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Xander, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing where the future takes you. And keep working hard, man.
Sir, thank you.
We'll be back with our next segment here after this message. All right, guys, we're back. Scoreboard. I know there hasn't been much going on because we're in winter break, but the other night we were at the Kittitas basketball games. We got to watch them play Mabton. Kittitas girls lost to Mabton.
Honestly, when we play them in Mabton, I'm already saying it right here. Write it down in pen. We will get that victory.
Absolutely. I think that'll be a
If we
good
can
one.
improve our shooting just a little bit, we'll get them.
It'll be just
We'll get
fine
them
there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was too bad they lost that night. Let's see.
Good win for
lost
the
to
boys,
Mabton. The boys beat Mabton that night. That was a fun one. I know we talked about how heated that game can get for quite a while, or between those two teams.
Yep.
It was nice to see them
Get that dub.
both teams went down and beat Dayton, and the Kittitas tournament's going on right now.
Right now,
It was the Tarpit Classic and at Central, but it's been moved out to Kittitas High School. We did find out already the girls played Cleellum. So Cleellum girls basketball beat Kittitas today by, I can't remember what the score was.
about 20 or so.
50-30.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Grace Terrell is 23 points away from 1,000 in her career.
Wow.
She might get that tomorrow.
She could get that tomorrow. Yeah.
It sounds like
11 a.m.
We're going
Yeah.
to need to get her on the podcast here soon.
Yeah.
I think so.
Pretty
I think
good
you're
local athlete. Yeah.
Both her and her dad. I mean, get
Yeah.
Coach Terrell from boys
that'd be-
basketball and
Yes.
Grace Terrell. Get Grace's sister, whose name is escaping me. She
Holly?
plays soccer, I believe, for
Yeah.
Idaho.
Okay.
Volleyball, maybe.
She's engaged.
Whatever,
to
they're
my future
College
class
athletes.
player. Yeah.
Some good genes in that family.
We'll have to have that episode here soon.
Yeah.
Looks like we have the boys game on here. They lost to LaSalle, but they beat Goldendale recently. But they're also at the Kittitas tournament too.
They are. Yeah. And they played at 1:30, so I haven't heard a score yet. So could be soon. And then I think Kittitas boys played tonight.
Yes,
5:30,
5:30.
Morton White Pass.
Yep.
That should be an interesting game.
Timberwolves.
And then Ellensburg boys, they're at the Sundome tonight. They
Which-
play at 4th. I'll be at.
You're about to hit the
Which-
trail here in a
yeah.
minute here and head down there and watch.
That's a fun tournament. There's some real talent down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll play Sela for the second year in a row.
What's going
Yeah.
to be the big key for Ellensburg to get the win tonight?
They got to stop Noah Pepper, probably. Yeah. I mean, that dude can get 25 points and 25 boards.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he takes charges all the time. So
Wow.
he forces offensive fouls on the opposition.
He's a tough one to play against. That'll be a fun one. It'll be interesting to see how packed the Sundome is tonight.
I hope it is.
That'll
I
be a lot
mean,
of fun.
it's an easy trip for Ellensburg. Obviously, that's 5 minutes away from Sela, so
Right.
we're going to be glued to Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
no pressure, but we need your updates.
Well, there's no love lost between Ellensburg and Sela. That's for
No,
sure.
no,
Yeah.
sir.
What's the Ellensburg girls been up to?
They're on break.
Are
so,
they?
Yeah.
Haven't been playing any games.
Yeah.
That's
They're 8-0. So
yeah.
A much deserved break.
I
yeah.
bet.
Yeah, they deserve it. 8 wins in a row.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing, I was out at the Kittitas wrestling match here last week, I believe it was, and there were a lot of teams there, but it was kind of fun watching those guys. And how-
Kittitas Express.
Kittitas Express. That's
9
right.
teams.
9
I
teams.
believe there was 9 teams.
Mhm.
2 mats, maybe even the third mat in the auxiliary gym. I didn't get that
Yeah.
far, but when you got in those B schools, when you've got some great talent, but maybe those small schools don't have enough of dual meets, and it seems like every match or every weekend at least is a 7 to 10 team tournament, and so there was some great talent there that Connor Treat has there
Yes.
on our mats, and but just great regional talent as well. It's really fun to watch that. I know we talk about basketball quite a bit, but as a former wrestler who's definitely not in wrestling shape anymore,
Didn't you wrestle for Coach Wood?
I wrestled for Coach Wood back in the day, Illinois Junior High Brave. Had a few life lessons on the mat, we'll just say.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we'll discuss in a wrestling centered podcast, but it's a great sport. I was in great shape then. I wish I was still in that kind
Absolutely.
of shape. So
Heck yeah. Well, it looks like Ellensburg. What do they got going on recently?
Wrestling?
Ellensburg wrestling, yes.
I haven't heard. They were just they had some wrestlers at the Kittitas,
Right.
But
Yep.
their match did get canceled.
That's what Ellensburg weather.
Yeah.
That's right. That's too bad.
So I'm pretty sure they play this weekend or wrestle this weekend on the road.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a short scoreboard segment this week, but we are also in that break. We got like a little rush there after football season was over with, but now we're come back next week and we'll be rolling here throughout the rest of the year, and with games happening left and right. And
League play for everybody once January 1st hits.
Absolutely.
So, every game counts no matter what, but definitely league play, every game counts.
absolutely. Central, there's really nothing going on. They took a break. They had the girls lost to Northwest Nazarene, I believe, last Saturday.
Yep.
But
That's tough. That one frustrated me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was decent, but man,
Yeah.
you need to get the ones at home.
The big one, January 2nd, which I don't know if we'll be recording before then, Central goes to Western. So, big rivalry coming up. But
You ever been to a Central Western game up there in Bellingham?
not yet.
I have
Is
a
it
couple of
wonderful?
times. I don't know what it's like. I went up there when it was still like pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun trip. Going to Bellingham's not that difficult of a drive.
Right.
So
It's right
put it
there.
on your list of things to do.
Absolutely. Well, we better kick Luke out of here. He's got to get going. We're going to come
To the
back.
Sundown tournament.
We're going to come back with a special John and Country segment because Luke's hitting the road. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be great.
It's going to be
I'm not
magical.
included. Okay.
All right. We'll be back here in just a second, folks.
Well, Kittitas Valley Sports Talk fans, we are back. And, whenever we're doing breaks, we always talk about so many different scenarios, so many different storylines, and we keep them up in the old dome piece, right? In the vault. So there's a lot of things that are on our mind. So
Right.
what is on our mind? So there's probably like 28 things we talked about during the break.
Yeah.
We're going to whittle those down to a couple of them.
I should have wrote him down.
We should have wrote them down, but they're always like jumbled up in there, right?
Yes.
And I'll randomly think about them when I'm driving, or randomly think about them when I'm supposed to be focusing on the 9-to-5 job. But,
Absolutely. I driving tractor, driving down the road, thinking about it. And the
That's
first thing on my mind, because as you guys are watching and you guys listening know he's not here, Luke's not here no more. He just
Nope.
left. He ran out. We just finished a scoreboard segment. And what's on my mind is what are the roads like to I-82s? And Luke, I'm sure you're great with directions, but he misses the driveway every day here. Are
At
you
the
going
Big
to find the
Country
Sun
Studios.
Dome? It's on my mind.
are you going to find the Sundome, Luke? And he's not here to defend himself.
Nope.
Are you going to find the Sundome? It's that big concrete pimple there in Yakima.
I think he'll find it. I have faith in him.
I think so. But also another thing, we were pointing this way. I want to mention the calendar you got there, the Mariners calendar.
Just bought it at Fred Meyer's today.
That's right. So a 2020 calendar, but the thing that catches my attention is the previous World Series champions, which is really cool.
Yeah.
A few teams on there that we're really familiar with. The Yankees there, of course. You got some Cardinals on there. There's one notable name, Blue and Teal.
That is not on there, and it's quite
And
depressing.
I don't know if it's going to be on there this year either.
Nope.
Mariners.
Mariners are not on that list.
Mariners are not on that list. It seems like we're always one game away. Or, pardon me, one season away.
Let's see. No World Series played. No. Who was the first team to win a World Series, John? If you can't see that,
I can't see that. What's the year? Can you tell me when we started calling it the World Series?
1903.
So we didn't have the curse of the Bambino yet. So the first team that pops up, Boston Red Sox.
Well, it was the Boston Americans.
Boston Americans.
But yes, you are correct. Good
I
job.
did not know that.
I think
Okay.
you could see it, and he lied. But yes, we got a new Mariners calendar. I'm excited to see who the first month's going to be next week when we record again. And I don't usually flip calendars on time. You walk into that one's actually on time.
Well, that one's fine. But that was on November for a while.
It was, and usually they're on like March for years or
Yeah,
for the whole
yeah.
year. So
But if it's a good picture, that's a nice picture over
gorgeous
there.
picture.
You can't see it on camera there, but it's a
it's
good looking one.
behind the scenes.
What are some other things
You
on
know,
our mind?
I think something that's big on our mind because it's happening right now is there's a basketball tournament in Kittitas.
That's right. So I've got it pulled up here. That's another thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cleveland girls got the dub over Kittitas. So I'm a Kittitas guy, right? But I'm happy that a local team at least got the W there with Cleveland. And as we're recording right now, the Cleveland boys are taking on Woodland, and the Kittitas boys We should have this up by the 5:30 tip-off. So if you listen to this right now on Thursday late afternoon, head on over to Kittitas. So it's scheduled to tip off at 5:30. The Kittitas boys taking on Morton White Pass. Of course, that's game 4 of a tournament, so 5:30 tip-off probably means about 6.
Right.
And then tomorrow, Saturday, the 28th, 4 games. Cleveland girls play at 11. The Kittitas boys take on the Cleveland boys at 3:30, and then the Kittitas girls have the nightcap taking on Highland. I'm actually looking forward to that Kittitas Cleveland game.
That's going to be a good one.
Just what could be a good local rivalry game. The Kittitas girls versus Highland playing a division up, but I think Kittitas can get that dub.
I think so too.
At home as well. So there's not much going on during the schedule, during the holiday calendar in between Christmas and New Year's. Get yourself in front of some local sports. That's what I'm telling you.
Get to Kittitas, watch some games. The next thing on my mind, because I'm Googling it right now, is when does Ellensburg girls play again? And it's
pull it up on the Google.
The Google.
On the
Wearing
Google.
off on you guys. The 3rd, they play Othello and Ellensburg. That'll
It's gonna be a
fun
good
matchup.
one.
Then they go
It's
to
a Friday night game.
4th, yeah. But that leads me to another thing on my mind is Ellensburg going to beat Sealy tonight.
Luke said, they've got Noah Pepper, quite a talented player, but it's not like the cupboard is bare for Ellensburg either. So, what a great venue to play in.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a playoff atmosphere when you're playing there in the Sun Dome. I'm going to say going to be a tough game. I'm going to say Ellensburg by 5.
That's a good one. Yep, I'm going to say Ellensburg hits a shot at the last second to win this game.
Okay.
It's going to be chaos and eruption in the
It's
Sun
going to
Dome.
be chaos in the Sun Dome. So that's another.
Yeah, that
I don't
tournament.
want to call that an easy trip, but it's a short trip, 35 minutes give or take.
Yeah.
You should be there.
They have 2 courts going? Or
2 courts
one?
going. Yep.
And they were talking about in the Yakima Herald about how the 1A, probably the top 3 players in the 1A are all playing in that tournament.
Yeah, I saw that too. Well, I saw that on Twitter, the main news source for everybody. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
What else is on our mind? Central basketball.
Central basketball's on my mind.
That's on my mind.
I'm thinking, they've had kind of an interesting schedule so far, and they've had a fun, they played a lot of smaller schools, and but they've beaten those guys. I don't think they've dropped one that they shouldn't have won, or should have won. They lost to.
Well, I mean, until you're undefeated, I'm never happy. For me as a fan, I want an undefeated season and a sellout every game, and I know that might be difficult. Yeah. And I know if we don't have a sellout, it's not your fault because you got your season tickets yourself. But on my mind, I'd really like to see Central get the W over Western. I think that's Thursday, right? Next Thursday, the 2nd?
Second, yes,
in Bellingham.
I have a calendar, but it's not flipped to the right date.
That's right. So, but I'm looking at December's schedule. Yeah, so Thursday the 2nd.
Yep.
And so that's on my mind. And I'd really like to see the CW women bounce back from losing to Northwest Nazarene. And they were the ones that picked to win the GNAC. And, I mean, obviously there's a lot of games to be played still, but best way to get over a loss is preparing for the next game. And
I think the state of Central basketball is in a good place. And from my fans' opinion and my alumnus opinion, the boys program, they lost their first 2 league games, but still, I feel like there's been improvement this year. The team's better. They're getting bigger. They're older. And there's a couple, 3 guys that I feel like coach is building around. They're young guys that I can't wait in 2 years when they I'm calling it now. In 2 years, they're going to win a GNAC title with a regional, maybe even host the regionals that year. When
let's hope it's better than the last time we hosted it.
Oh, yeah, because that was
not a fun night.
That wasn't fun at all. So, well, what else? Anything else on your mind, John? You got anything else?
Well, there's some stuff on my mind that we're going to tease right now, but talk about next week. So, in the spirit of the season, there's resolutions, whether it's losing weight, saving money, paying down debt, whatever the classic resolutions are.
Right.
My take on it is let's have some local sports-minded resolutions. So we're going to put this question out on Twitter, IG, Instagram, maybe the Facebook as well, right? And if there's a way to post questions on YouTube, I'm not sure, but you're watching the video right now, so here we go. What's a sports resolution that you have, be it going to more games at home, maybe getting in a road trip or two. That's part of the fun of sports, is just a road trip and the anticipation of it. And then, of course, talking about a W on the way home to keep yourself awake at night. But
Right.
what's a New Year's resolution that has a sports theme to it? And I said local, so I'll keep mine local, but is it to see more Mariners games? You know, is it to, I've made the trip over to see some Seattle Storm games, which were really fun as well. So what is your sports resolution? So think about it. We'll put it on the social media sites, and we really enjoy the banter back and forth and the engagement. So if you got resolutions or you got a question of your own, put it out there, because we're going to respond to it. We'll either respond to it on the social media or respond to it right here.
Absolutely. Feel free to reach out. We've had a couple guys in the last 24 hours right on there, and that was awesome. And we'll get
That's
to
right.
We'll get to responding. If you don't want to post actually on the page, go ahead and send us a direct message, and
That's right.
we can talk about it on here next week. And
That's right.
let's get some fan interaction. Let's see what you want to see for this next year. And again, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and you enjoyed your families. And
We did.
And everybody
Hopefully you
stay
did.
safe. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. And stay safe on New Year's Eve. And if you look to the east about dark, I'm going to have a hell of a fireworks show going off. So
That sounds good.
it's going to be great.
America.
That's right, baby. American flag shirt and everything. So, well, till next week, till maybe even the new year, take care of each other, be kind, and get out there and watch some basketball this weekend, and go Cougs. All right, but take care.